Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I apologize that I stepped away here for the last couple of weeks. I actually went on a good long vacation with my girlfriend over to the Olympics. Actually, it was the trip of a lifetime, but obviously I wasn't doing a whole lot of movie watching, wasn't really paying attention to stuff going on here back at home, but it's good to be back into the swing of things and hopefully churn out some more videos. With that in mind, today I'm going to go ahead and talk about the box office report from this previous weekend. I might touch on some things with some movies that I've seen since the last time I posted, but I haven't said anything about. I may release a couple of more videos this week just talking about things that I missed, but for the time being, I'm just going to keep this video to the box office report. And this box office was very interesting. Deadpool and Wolverine is obviously a massive hit. In its third weekend domestically, it made over $54 million. Its percentage drop weekend over weekend honestly isn't that bad either. I know the one that we tend to focus on is from weekend 1 to weekend 2, but from weekend 2 to weekend 3, I think it was like a 54% drop, which is fantastic. It's still making $54 million in a weekend. Absolutely huge hit. It also ended up crossing $1 billion this weekend. This is the hit that Marvel desperately needed. I did go ahead and see this movie while I was in Paris, and I enjoyed it. It was very entertaining. I also have a lot of problems with the movie. As a movie, the story, a little hit or miss for me. I did overwhelmingly enjoy the movie. It was a really fun, entertaining time, and I think it was the right movie for Marvel to put out this year, and it's still racking in a ton of money. But at the number 2 slot is It Ends With Us, a adaptation of Colleen Hoover's book. Now, for those of you that aren't into book culture, my girlfriend reads a lot, that's why I know this. Colleen Hoover is massively popular, and, her writing, it's hit or miss. A lot of people like her, some people not a fan. It Ends With Us, I severely underestimated the amount of money this would make and how much people would actually go out into the theaters to support this film. It stars Blake Lively, but let's be honest, Blake Lively, she's not a superstar. She's very big right now, obviously married to Ryan Reynolds. She's been involved in successful projects in the past, but nothing fairly recently. It seems like, for whatever reason, It Ends With Us was a huge hit this weekend, making more money than I thought it had any business making. $50 million domestically off of a $20 million budget. Now, I don't know what the marketing budget is on a movie like this, but I would venture to guess it wasn't that much. Aside from the trailers in the movie theaters, I didn't see too much marketing out there for the film. And it just seemed like it really rode the wave of this popular book, this popular author, and I wouldn't be shocked to see more adaptations of, I guess, modern books coming to theaters soon. I mean, $50 million, that's nothing to sneeze at. That is a huge hit. I wouldn't be surprised to see Blake Lively get a few more leading roles in there. I can't really remember the last time that she had a big leading role. But the one that comes to mind is the name of the movie. It was like the choir section or the rhythm section, something like that. It made like no money. This is a much-needed win for her. She will probably be in more movies here in the future. And yeah, I'm genuinely shocked at just how popular this movie is, especially since its Rotten Tomatoes score wasn't like overwhelmingly positive. It seems like it was a pretty divisive movie, but the fans of the book showed out and fans of Blake Lively showed out. And then Twisters at number 3, making $15 million in its 4th weekend, I believe, 4th or 5th weekend. This movie has been a moderate hit for the studio. I believe the production budget was somewhere around $125 million. It's crossed over $300 million. So I do believe that they're turning a profit now. Marketing for this movie was pretty vast, so I wouldn't be surprised if they still need a little bit more to break even. But, those numbers I just don't know. It could be well into the green at this point. But either way, Twisters making more money than I honestly thought it would. But after its huge opening weekend, I thought that it would be making much more money than this now. I think Deadpool and Wolverine did take away quite a few dollars from this movie. But nonetheless, big hit. for Glenn Powell and company. It performed better than I think a lot of people gave it credit for earlier in the summer, and it's still able to stay in the top 3 here in the box office. But the last movie that I want to talk about with this report today is a ginormous flop in so many ways. Borderlands, which opened up to a critic percentage of 3%. I think it's at 10% now. Made just $8 million domestically this weekend. Its budget was like $120 million. So people are getting fired for this movie. A lot of people are in trouble for this. I mean, it would be one thing if the movie was mediocre, if it had like a 40%, okay. If it had like a 35% even, okay. To be at like 10% last time I checked, that has to be the lowest percentage for a wide release movie that I've ever seen. Even Madam Web was at like 13%. And Madam Web is terrible. It's a terrible movie. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in a theater. I have not gone out and seen Borderlands yet, but I'm very tempted to, just out of morbid curiosity. But this one is a real head-scratcher because, it stars one of the best actresses of all time, Cate Blanchett, in the starring role. So it makes me wonder what she saw in the movie. Kevin Hart is in this, and he has a huge fan base. Granted, I don't think he's doing himself any favors starring in all of these Netflix movies, so I think people are starting to associate him more with streaming. And Borderlands is definitely not going to help. The guy, I wouldn't be shocked if he accepts another big payday to do like 5 Netflix movies, which, you know what? Hey, get your money while you can, man. I can't knock a guy for taking the money that's being offered to him, but still, if you're going to have a movie that releases in theaters, you need it to be better. But, the critic rating, it is what it is. Audiences also hate it, and I think this movie was projected at like $20 million, which is still not good for a movie that costs so much to make. But for it to not even make half of that, make $8 million, a new movie based off of a huge video game, very popular, this is a disaster. That's what it is. This is a disaster. Like, I don't remember the opening weekend numbers for Madam Web, but it was higher than $8 million. I know that. For this movie to be as bad, as hated as it is, and to not even make money off of it, I just want to know who's getting fired. Unfortunately, I don't like calling for people's jobs, but like, we have to call a spade a spade. This is a huge disaster. It's going to cost the studio like hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know how much money they end up making on this movie through the actual theaters. I wouldn't be shocked if there's a headline here in the next couple of days that it's going to be on streaming in a week. Genuinely. Remember Horizon, Kevin Costner's movie that made like no money, and then it was announced that it was going to go to streaming here really soon, and they called off the release of part 2 that was supposed to be released this weekend, or I guess next weekend now. Oh man, Borderlands, absolute disaster. Again, I'm kind of curious to go see it, and if I want to, I got to do it soon because that thing is getting pulled from theaters quick. But yeah, those are just some of the box office headlines that I wanted to talk about today. Really big ones were just Borderlands being a disaster, and it ends with us being a surprise hit. Deadpool and Wolverine crossing over $1 billion. That's everything that I got for you today, and make sure you subscribe if you're not already, if you like this and you want to see more. Bye, y'all.